Welcome to Batpixel. This is a Powkiddy V90 and this is a Miyoo Mini Plus. The Powkiddy V90 comes in at like 40 bucks American, whereas the Miyoo Mini Plus comes in at around like 70 bucks American. Depending on where you find these online, it's almost double the price to go for this. So if you did upgrade, what are you really paying for? Like, what are you really getting? Well, that's what I wanted to talk about today. So at first glance, the button layout on these are pretty much the same. The obvious difference with the Powkiddy V90 is that it shuts closed like an old Game Boy SP. The screen size on these are pretty similar. The Miyoo Mini Plus has a 3.5 inch screen, which is a bit bigger than the Powkiddy V90, and it actually is a lot nicer. You're getting what you pay for with the screen, because the screen on this thing is really nice. The screen on the Powkiddy V90 is okay. I mean, I like it, I use it no problem, but it can be a little bit washed out, and it's definitely nowhere even close to the screen on this. The only thing about the Powkiddy V90 screen, you can risk forming little bubbles on the screen protector, so a lot of people actually tear the screen protector off. I was lucky enough that the bubbles on mine are on the outside perimeter of the screen, so I never had any issue and I don't notice it when I'm playing, so I left the screen protector on. The reason I mentioned that is because when you're on the move, even if you do tear out the screen protector, this flips closed. So while you're traveling, this is closed up and the screen's protected. The Powkiddy will fit in your pocket more comfortably, and while the Miyoo Mini Plus will fit in your pocket, it's bigger than a modern cell phone, so it will be a little bit blockier. So this is actually my friend Chad's handheld, and what he did was he just went on Amazon and got this small hard drive case from Amazon Basics, and this is pretty much just to protect the screen when he's on the move. You can put a screen protector on it, but that screen protector is going to be exposed if you don't have a case. So I'd recommend getting a small case for it for sure. When you flip these handhelds around, they both have the bumper buttons on the back for L1, R1, L2, R2, but the Powkiddy V90 has flat buttons on the back, whereas the Miyoo Mini Plus has the L2 and R2 buttons sticking out further than the L1, R1 buttons. So you can hit the buttons a lot easier and they're really comfortable. They both have volume adjustments on the sides where the D-pad is. The only difference is the Powkiddy V90 has a wheel, whereas the Miyoo Mini Plus has volume up and down buttons. They both have your headphone jack and USB-C slots on the bottom. The only difference is the Miyoo Mini Plus has the micro SD card slot on the bottom, and the Powkiddy V90 has a micro SD card slot on the side. The speakers on this are a bit different. You can see this just has one mono speaker on the bottom. I find that that's a bad placement because when I'm playing this, I'm kind of rolling my thumbs on the buttons and my thumb covers up the speaker and I can hear the game cutting in and out because my thumb's literally over the speaker. So I think they should have placed this somewhere else. The Powkiddy V90 has speakers on both sides on the bottom which don't get in the way, but the sound on this isn't the best when you get it stock. It sounds like it's playing the audio out of a tin can. So what I actually did to improve the sound was I modded one of these speakers in one of my videos where I showed you how to do that. And it improves the sound quality a lot. So if you do pick up a Powkiddy V90, I would recommend modding it to make it sound better. Also, the D-pad on the Miyoo Mini Plus is great. Right out of the box it feels amazing. Whereas the Powkiddy V90, I had to put 10 layers of tape underneath the D-pad. I also showed you how to do that in my last video. But just keep in mind, if you're saving some money by picking this up, I have a couple of tips on how to modify it just to make it a bit better. You're probably thinking if you buy the more expensive one, it's going to feel way better quality-wise. But to be honest with you, the Powkiddy V90 has really high quality for the price. It feels awesome. And the buttons are really good. I just changed the D-pad and the speakers, but the overall build quality of this was great, and the modifications that I made were easy. So the actual feel in your hands is great for both of these. So as far as the hardware goes with how these feel in your hands and the build quality, if you upgrade to this, you'll get a way better D-pad, the bumper buttons on the back are a lot better, and the screen on this is amazing. It looks so good in person. So you are getting what you pay for. But if you're a Game Boy SP fan, this is perfect, especially if you want to play Game Boy Advance games and things like that. You won't go wrong with this at all. Now let's talk about something very important because we're all gamers. The performance of these. How do the games perform on the software? I should mention that both of these handhelds have been modded with custom firmware that is available online and recommended. The Miyoo Mini Plus has been modded with Onion OS, and the Powkiddy V90 has actually been modded with Miyoo CFW, which I have a tutorial on. Starting off with Mario Kart, you can see the Powkiddy struggles a bit. You can play around with different emulation options, such as frame skip for example, to get a smoother experience. If you're familiar with different performance settings. I would recommend looking up different settings you can change to make emulation better, and the settings will be different for certain games to get max performance, such as overclocking for example. While the Miyoo Mini Plus handles this game without any issue, and it was a seamless experience. Moving on to Contra 3, you can see the same lag issues for the V90, while the experience was smooth on the Mini Plus. I did want to show a couple of more games just to show you that some games might struggle at the lower price point with the V90, such as Yoshi's Island and F-Zero. However, you won't run into issues with the Mini Plus at a higher price range. The Miyoo Mini Plus will start to struggle when you get into PlayStation 1 games, but it will also play a lot of PlayStation 1 games just fine. You can see Crash Bandicoot is working without issue for me. The Powkiddy does not have great PS1 performance, but it actually can handle some PlayStation games. It is more suitable for most 8-bit and 16-bit games, with some struggle on certain games that are difficult to emulate at a lower price point. But I would like to say that the Powkiddy is a fantastic option for most games of that era, especially if you want to get into Game Boy Advance games. It's an amazing cheap option for a lower budget handheld. So when it comes to game performance, you're also getting what you pay for in this category. So the performance on this was amazing in comparison. And not only that, but this also has RetroArch on it. So with RetroArch, you can do so much customizable things. You can even use the Wi-Fi feature on this to play 2 to 4 players online with your friends for retro games, which is just mind-blowing to me. You can save battery on both consoles by hitting the menu button on the Powkiddy V90 and by tapping on the power button on the Miyoo Mini Plus. But the nice feature about the Miyoo Mini Plus is that you can turn it off by holding on the power button, whereas on the Powkiddy V90, you have to shut it off in the software first, and then you can shut it off with the power button, which admittedly is a bit tangly sometimes for me. So obviously it's not a fair battle because you're getting what you pay for, but that's the good news. Whatever budget you have, there's an awesome handheld out there for you. Just keep in mind that there are other handhelds out there in this price range that might work better for you, such as the Powkiddy X55 that performs really well, is in this price range, and also has joysticks. But if you're just looking for a budget handheld that plays great and there might be some hit or miss games, the Powkiddy V90 is perfect. This is mine and I play this all the time and I love it. I take this all over the place, or if I'm just chilling on the couch, I'll play this and I really enjoy it. So for the price of this thing, totally worth it. But if you want to upgrade and get higher quality with this, you will get value for your dollar. And like I mentioned, there's a lot of handhelds on the market in 2023. So just look at what's out there and see what works best for you. But for handhelds that don't have joysticks, these are amazing. So if you do pick up a Powkiddy V90, be sure to check out my videos on it where I show you how to mod it and increase the performance. If you're new to the channel, definitely like this video and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot and I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in and I'll see you in the next one.